If you own a gun in America, everything just changed. This February, a federal ruling rewrote gun laws nationwide. Law number 10 is so explosive, 3 states are threatening outright rebellion. Hit subscribe right now, because missing this could cost you your guns, your freedom, or both. Law 1. Universal Constitutional Carry Recognition. This first change flips everything upside down for gun owners who live in constitutional carry states. Right now, 29 states let you carry a concealed firearm without any permit. You don't need paperwork, you don't need government permission, you just carry. But here's the problem that's been destroying people's lives. The second you cross into a state that requires permits, you become a criminal carrying the exact same gun that was legal 5 minutes ago. A construction worker from Idaho drove to Oregon for a job and got pulled over for a broken taillight. He told the officer about his concealed pistol, totally legal in Idaho without a permit. He spent 2 nights in jail, paid $4,800 in bail, and burned through $11,000 in legal fees before the prosecutor finally dropped the charges 8 months later. The February ruling says that's over. If your home state recognizes constitutional carry, you can now travel to 42 other states and carry concealed without getting a permit from anyone. But here's what nobody's talking about. Carrying legally doesn't mean anything if the government can still grab your guns based on nothing but someone's accusation. Law 2. Red flag law, due process requirements. Our red flag laws have been the most dangerous tool for stripping away gun rights without any crime being committed. And this February ruling just shattered how they work. 21 states passed laws letting judges take your firearms based on a petition from almost anyone. An angry ex, a worried neighbor, even a coworker you had an argument with. The scariest part? You never got to defend yourself before your guns disappeared. A high school teacher in Colorado had every firearm in his house seized after a student's parent filed a petition claiming he talked about guns too much in class. No threats were made. No investigation happened. A judge signed the order in a 10-minute hearing, and police showed up at his house that afternoon. It took him 13 months and $22,000 in attorney fees to get his property back. The new ruling says this ends immediately. Before any judge can authorize taking your guns, you must be notified. You get to appear in court. You can bring a lawyer. If there's an emergency order where they take your guns first, you automatically get a hearing within 72 hours to challenge it. Still, even with these protections, there's been another category of firearms the government claimed you had zero right to own. Law 3. Privately made firearm rights restored. The ATF's crusade against homemade guns just crashed and burned in spectacular fashion. In 2022, the Biden administration rewrote the definition of what counts as a firearm. And overnight, pieces of metal that needed hours of drilling and machining suddenly became firearms, requiring serial numbers and background checks. They targeted 80% frames and receivers, unfinished chunks of aluminum or polymer that couldn't fire anything until you completed serious mechanical work. A retired machinist in Pennsylvania built AR-15 rifles from 80% lowers as a hobby for 22 years. A TF agents raided his home in January 2024, confiscated 31 firearms, and charged him with manufacturing firearms without a license. He's 68 years old and facing up to 10 years in federal prison for a hobby that was completely legal when he started. The February court decision destroys the ATF's new rules completely. The judges said an unfinished frame or receiver isn't a firearm until it actually works as a firearm. You have the constitutional right to build guns for yourself without serial numbers, without registration, and without asking permission. But what you build is only half the story. What you put inside those firearms just became equally protected. Has anyone in the comments ever built their own firearm, and did you know this was becoming illegal? Law 4. Magazine capacity. Restrictions struck down. The plastic box that holds your ammunition just went from illegal contraband in 10 states to constitutionally protected property nationwide. And the reaction from gun control politicians has been pure chaos. California, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Colorado, Connecticut, Hawaii, Maryland, Washington, and Vermont all banned magazines holding more than 10 rounds, claiming it would stop crime. The Glock 17, the most popular handgun in America, comes standard with a 17-round magazine from the factory. A veteran in Massachusetts bought a Glock 19 legally at a gun store. The salesman removed the 15-round magazines and sold him 10-round magazines instead. 6 months later, the veteran was moving to New Hampshire and found the original 15-round magazines in a box in his basement. The previous owner must have left them. A state trooper pulled him over for speeding and searched his car during the stop. He got arrested, charged with illegal possession of high-capacity magazines, and the DA wanted 18 months in jail. The February ruling says magazines holding 11 to 30 rounds are standard capacity and in common use by millions of law-abiding Americans. Banning them violates the Second Amendment. Yet there's another accessory that's been even more demonized, the one that Hollywood convinced Americans was only used by assassins. Law 5. Suppressor deregulation nationwide. Suppressors, the hearing protection devices that movies turned into sinister silencers, just became as easy to buy as the gun itself, and the explosion in demand is already overwhelming manufacturers. Since 1934, suppressors have been trapped under the National Firearms Act, alongside machine guns and destructive devices. To legally buy one, you submitted fingerprints, passport photos, notify local law enforcement, and paid a $200 tax to the federal government. Then you waited, and waited. Only 2.9 million suppressors were registered in a country with over 425 million firearms. That's one suppressor for every 146 guns. A farmer in Nebraska applied for a suppressor in April 2023 to protect his hearing while shooting prairie dogs that were destroying his crops. He paid $850 for the suppressor and $200 for the tax stamp. He received approval in February 2024, 10 months later. He now has permanent hearing damage in his right ear. The February ruling rips suppressors completely out of the National Firearms Act. Buying a suppressor now works exactly like buying a regular firearm. Instant background check, and you walk out with it the same day. However, getting the suppressor was only part of the problem. The nightmare of paperwork every time you wanted to loan, sell, or transfer any firearm was just as bad. Law 6. Private sale documentation eliminated. I'm selling a rifle to your brother. Giving your daughter her first handgun, or loaning a shotgun to your hunting buddy just went from a potential federal felony to a constitutionally protected private transaction. And the universal background check agenda just died. 11 states passed laws requiring every single firearm transfer, even temporary loans between friends, to go through a licensed dealer with a background check and a fee. Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Nevada, California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, and Rhode Island all made it illegal to hand your gun to anyone without government involvement. A grandfather in Colorado gave his grandson a .22 rifle for the grandson's 21st birthday, a family rifle that had been passed down for 3 generations. He didn't know Colorado had changed the law in 2013. 2 years later, the grandson mentioned the gift to a coworker who was also a reserve police officer. That officer reported the illegal transfer. Both grandfather and grandson were charged with unlawful transfer and unlawful possession. The February ruling says private transfers between lawful gun owners can't be regulated by the government at all. This affects an estimated 5 million private gun sales and transfers that happen every year in America. And all of them are now legal without paperwork, without government involvement, and without fees. But there's a term that's been weaponized to ban entire categories of firearms. And the definition of that term just got absolutely demolished. Drop a comment and tell me, Have you ever been afraid to sell or give a gun to a family member because of these transfer laws? Law 7. Assault weapon. Definition narrowed. The scary-looking rifle that politicians spent 30 years trying to ban? The court just ruled those bans are unconstitutional, and the legal reasoning destroys the entire foundation of assault weapon legislation across the country. 9 states banned firearms. They called assault weapons based on cosmetic features that have nothing to do with how the gun actually functions. California, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, Hawaii, Illinois, and Washington made it illegal to own semi-automatic rifles with features like pistol grips, adjustable stocks, flash suppressors, or barrel shrouds. A man in New York owned an AR-15 he legally purchased in 2012. In 2013, the state passed the SAFE Act banning assault weapons. His rifle became illegal overnight because it had a pistol grip and a collapsible stock. He was required to register it or face criminal charges. In 2023, he sold the rifle to a dealer to get it out of his house. 2 months later, state police showed up at his door and arrested him. The registration database had an error, and the system flagged him as owning an unregistered illegal weapon. He spent $18,000 proving he'd legally sold the gun. The February ruling declares that bans based on cosmetic features violate the Second Amendment. Semi-automatic rifles are in common use for lawful purposes. Over 24 million AR pattern rifles exist in America alone. Still, owning these rifles is one thing. Using them to defend yourself just got massively more protection. Law 8. Vehicle Castle Doctrine Expansion. Your car just became legally equivalent to your home, and if you ever have to defend yourself while in your vehicle, this change could save you from a murder charge. Most states had castle doctrine laws protecting you from prosecution when you used deadly force to defend yourself inside your house. Those protections evaporated the moment you stepped into your car. A pizza delivery driver in Michigan was making a delivery at 11 p.m. when a man approached his car window and pointed a gun at him, demanding money. The driver drew his concealed carry pistol and shot the armed robber. The robber survived. The driver was arrested and charged with assault with a deadly weapon, because prosecutors argued he could have thrown the pizza and his wallet out the window and driven away rather than using his gun. He spent 19 months fighting the charges before they were finally dropped, but his legal bills hit $67,000. The February ruling extends full castle doctrine protection to any occupied vehicle. Your car, your truck, your RV, your motorcycle, all of them are now legally your home. You have no duty to retreat when attacked in your vehicle. You don't have to prove you couldn't escape. This affects every state with castle doctrine laws. That's 38 states. And it means defending yourself in your car has the same legal protections as defending yourself in your bedroom. But even with expanded self-defense rights and weapon protections, there was one financial barrier keeping millions of Americans from exercising their Second Amendment rights at all. Law 9. Firearms taxation restrictions. The hidden taxes and fees that made gun ownership too expensive for working-class Americans just got struck down as unconstitutional, and what the government called reasonable regulation, the court called an illegal poll tax on your rights. States piled fees and taxes on every step of owning a firearm to make exercising your rights as expensive as possible. But Illinois charged $300 for a firearm owner's identification card. You couldn't even buy a gun without one. New York City charged $340 for a concealed carry permit that expired after 3 years, meaning you paid $340 again for renewal. A truck driver in Illinois wanted to buy a handgun after his truck was broken into twice in 6 months. Between the FOID card at $300, the mandatory training course at $150, the background check fee at $35, and the handgun itself at $450, he was looking at $935 total. His paycheck couldn't cover it. A single mother in New York applied for a concealed carry permit after being followed home from work twice. The application fee was $340. The required 16-hour training class cost $375. Fingerprinting was $91.50. The total came to $901.50 before she even owned a gun. Her application was denied because she couldn't prove proper cause. The February ruling says excessive fees and taxes on firearms ownership are unconstitutional infringement. States can only charge the actual administrative cost of processing permits and background checks, typically $25 to $40 maximum. Comment below. What's the most you've ever paid in fees and taxes just to exercise your gun rights? Law 10. Mass confiscation orders ruled unconstitutional. This is the bombshell that nobody saw coming, and it's already triggered a constitutional showdown between states and the federal judiciary. The government's power to order mass gun confiscations during emergencies, something that actually happened in multiple American cities over the past 20 years, just got ruled completely unconstitutional, and several governors are openly discussing whether they'll comply. After Hurricane Katrina destroyed New Orleans in 2005, the city's police superintendent ordered officers to confiscate all firearms from citizens, even from people who hadn't committed crimes and weren't under evacuation orders. Police went door to door, taking guns from elderly residents, trying to protect their property from looters. In 2023, after the Maui wildfires, Hawaii's governor signed an emergency proclamation that included language authorizing law enforcement to seize firearms from displaced residents in evacuation shelters to prevent civil disorder. Police confiscated 147 firearms from people living in temporary housing, people who had just lost everything and needed protection from theft. A homeowner in New Orleans had his shotgun taken by police during post-Katrina confiscations. He was 73 years old and staying in his home to protect it from looters. Officers broke down his door, pointed rifles at him, and took his only firearm. He was never accused of any crime. The February ruling declares that blanket confiscation orders violate the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, and the Fifth Amendment. The government cannot suspend constitutional rights during emergencies. Mass confiscation orders are explicitly prohibited, regardless of whether the emergency is a natural disaster, civil unrest, or public health crisis. But here's what makes this law number 10 the most explosive. It cuts directly at the heart of government power during chaos, and it tells politicians they can't use crisis as an excuse to disarm the people. These 10 changes represent the biggest shift in gun rights in decades, affecting everything from carrying across state lines to protection against emergency confiscations. The difference between knowing these laws and missing them could mean the difference between staying free and facing felony charges tomorrow. Hit subscribe and share this with every gun owner you know, because these protections only work when people actually understand their rights.